أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today is 31st August, second session for Taharat. What I thought when I was coming today, before I come to class, I saw in my room, I studied this book. And then this is one of Urafa of who died about 7-8 years ago in New York. I used to go to his house in home. I used to see him from time to time when I went to home. Then after he died, some people, some close friends of his wrote this book about him. I thought maybe each time I read a few, probably some of the things that he has said. What do I say from him? Okay, he says, you all know what is Mukashafa, right? Mukashafa? I told you that before. Revelation, not revelation in the sense that Jibreel goes to somebody and shows it. Mukashafa is when you, in this alam, your eyes open and you see things which you're not probably supposed to see in this alam. Then you see some alam about that. So that is called Mukashafa. That happens for awliyaullah, people who are close to Allah. So he sees this person has told the people around him about one of his Mukashafa. There is, once I was shown a tajalli of Qiyamah. Right? Qiyamah has not happened, right? But he was shown the tajalli of Qiyamah. How can you see these things when you break up the layer of time and you go beyond those things and you can see things? I was shown the tajalli of Qiyamah. In that situation, I was seeing that everything in the creation is around the thing he loved, or she loved, or it loved. So all people, all our creatures are circling around what they loved. Right? And every ashaq was with his ma'shuq. You all know what is ashaq and ma'shuq. And then it says, all the Shi'ayan and Mu'mineen, they were all around Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And each of those Ma'sumeens were sitting on a very nice, what do you call it? Couches? Sorry? Couches? Yeah, something like a magnificent type of place that they sit, like Kursi, they say. And the people, the lovers, the people who loved them, they were around them, and they were in a status of jazbe and fana. Jazbe and fana is when somebody is, you all know what is the word fana? Annihilation in English, right? Do you understand? That means when you are so much there and melt in someone else, so you totally forget about yourself. You're being disappear. You're being disappear. Not disappear from the real existence, that means you do not feel your being. So it says they were in the status of fana with the Ahlul Bayt. And it says, and all of those Ahlul Bayt, they were also around. Who was in the center of them? Says Hazrat Ali alayhi salam. They were all sitting in Behesht, in Jannah, and everyone was around Ahlul Bayt, and Ahlul Bayt were around Hazrat Ali alayhi salam. But you realize when it says Ahlul Bayt, it does not mean Prophet sallallahu, because they are Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet. Okay? So anyway, they are very nice. They are saying a lot of good things, but I just took one by chance and explained it. What I want to discuss today is about Taharat. Do you remember we discussed about Taharat, which has got internal Taharat and external Taharat? And briefly, Taharat was, the external Taharat was the Taharat of the five senses, including eyes and ear and touch and taste and smell. And who remembers what was the other things about external Taharat? You remember? No, that was not external Taharat. I'm not spoken about Taharat al Khayaal. The external Taharat was about Taharat of senses and don't you remember? External body parts.
What parts?
Food and hand and tongue. Right? So those are
You said other than five senses. External, other than five senses, I don't think of them.
No. What I said Taharat is two parts, batin and zahir. Taharat is internal Taharat and external Taharat. Internal Taharat was, we didn't discuss, external Taharat was about five senses and body parts. Right?
So body parts are within five.
External body parts. No, it's not within them. Food, hand, and tongue. They are not the same. I mean, they are probably the tools of some of the senses. Yes. How did you get this stuff done? Salam alaikum.
You fixed the car.
Okay, go. So, the external body parts and senses are real. Their Taharat is about external Taharat. What we want to discuss from today is internal Taharat. Internal Taharat or Taharat al-Batin. Yeah? Everyone knows what is Batin. The first and foremost and the startup of Taharat al-Batin is Taharat al Khayaal. Taharat al Khayaal or Taharat of imagination. Okay? You all, I don't need to go and explain again anymore. So I just refer you to the fact of those potencies of nafs, which were five senses. Who knows, who can tell me the other potencies of nafs? How much do you remember? The nafs has altogether 8 potencies. 5 senses, aql, yeah, 6. But no. But the first one, another one. Khayal. So, among those 8 potencies of nafs, one is khayal. Khayal is in the level of, if you remember, khayal is in the level of barzakh. So, when we are talking about khayal, of imagination, we are talking about beyond the senses, the 5 senses. When you go beyond those senses, then you enter the realm of khayal, or imagination. And khayal, the more I try not to go back to the past, the more I feel there is a need to remind some of these things. Tell me, what is the other name of alam khayal? What's the name? Barzakh, yes. Okay, that's enough. So, khayal, why is it called barzakh? Why is it referred to as alam barzakh? It's in between the two. Yes, yes. It's between the two alam of matter and akh. That's why it's called khayal. Khayal is the most fundamental issue of cleansing one's batin, is cleansing of the khayal. We all have, when I say we all have, I should not be feeling that I'm offending anyone, including myself. We all have corruption of khayal. Corruption of khayal, but in different levels. Khayal must become clean from 3 types of uncleanliness. One is Taharat al Khayaal, from corrupted beliefs. What are corrupted beliefs? What does corrupted belief mean? Corrupted belief means all these beliefs that we have put together and made up about ma'arif, aqlani, intellectual knowledge. We only think, which is not the case. We think that we have a good understanding of Allah. Whereas if you look at it, you will notice that all this, or most of this understanding we have from Allah is our imagination. We imagine Allah in a way that we think ourselves. When it comes to Qiyamah, we imagine Qiyamah, we have made an imagination about Qiyamah. All of us have that imagination in us. That imagination that we have about Qiyamah, that we take it as the real thing, the true thing. Whereas, no, this is only our imagination. And similar with other things, like the issue of Wahy or revelation, the issue of angels. I can prove to you that all of us, we have certain imagination about this Mabda and Ma'ad and Qiyamah and these things, and we all take it that this is the way it is, whereas this is only our khiyal. How do we have to get this, how do we have to get ourselves away from this, to do cleansing of our khiyal from these beliefs, is we have to learn the reality of it. Once you learn the reality of it, it goes out of your khiyal. You will take it over one step up to your alam aql, to your intellect. So before and unless we learn these topics like, as I said, Qiyamah and Allah Himself and angels and revelation and those type of things, unless we learn the true reality in intellectual form, unless we learn it that way, how do we know about them? Only in alam. Say, you're not following? What I mean? You are? Okay. I think probably better than, my suggestion is better than taking notes, is you listen, and then if you felt that you still need to take a note, then you can listen to the audio file later on to take notes, because there's no point you be not present when I'm saying it, and then you go, and that best you can do is going and listening to the audio, isn't it? So I prefer you listen to me now, and then take your notes at home when you go, if you felt that you need one to take notes. So to make our... Yeah, I also emailed them. No, but because my explanation and details are not in those forms, but the audio file is there. So khiyal must be cleaned from corrupted beliefs. Corrupted beliefs is what we think we know about these issues of intellectual issues. The other thing is, khiyal must be cleansed from reject imaginations. What are reject imaginations? I don't know. My translation is not very, sometimes it does not match the best wording. Right there and then I'm taking the note, I just put it into some sort of translation. Reject imaginations are like backbiting. What Fatima and these three ladies were doing when I came in the youth room. They were doing against me. I heard them saying, Mr. Bassam has not come yet, and he always tells us to come early, but he's late himself. But, I showed myself to them and then embarrassed them. So,
but that sort of is not imagination, is it? Imagination, sometimes you think something you think about.
No. Backbiting, I'm not saying backbiting is about imagination. I'm saying backbiting pollutes the imagination. It is polluting the imagination. Why? If you want to know why, think when you start to talk about people, bad about people, it creates a lot of bad images of that person in you, in that level of imagination.
Hatred.
Yeah, hatreds and bad thinking, bad feelings. They're all those feelings, Hussein, are in the level of our imagination. Because definitely they are not in the level of sense. Sense is doesn't have anything to do with this thing. Sense is about seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, right? But what is that feeling that is created in you? That is in your level of imagination. And you know that it is very likely and very possible that if it is persisted, that can enter even the heart of the people. That is when hatred is created. When a hatred is created, then that means even the qalb, that's another level of human being. The qalb is polluted too. So cleansing of qalb is also another topic by itself. So, what is the Farsi or Arabic for accusation? Tuhmat. Tuhmat. So doing tuhmat for other people. This is polluting the khayal. Doing backbiting is polluting the power of khayal in us. So we have to try to get rid of these traits in us. For instance, let me give you some practical examples. I'm passing by, we see each other, and you say, Ali see me and say, Salam Mr. Bassam, Salam Amu Saeed. Then I don't answer, I just go pass on. Then the first thing comes to his mind, he starts to think, what the hell he thinks he is Mr. Bassam, that he's only given us few sessions of lessons that now he doesn't even answer my salam. Right? That talks about a very polluted imagination. Or similarly, there are many occasions like that. And we know some of us, I wouldn't say most of us, but a lot of us, we have got this habit that we see people, we give them some respect, or we say hello to them, or we talk to them, and they do not pay attention to us. They do not reciprocate. They do not make any reaction. They just don't make any reaction to that. We start to think, especially if it's happened, if you said Salam Amu Saeed and then I didn't say anything, and again you start with maybe he has not heard, and again you come and say, Amu Saeed Salam, again I don't answer. Or I answer very cool, say Salam and pass by. And whereas we have been used to stay and greet and shake hands and talk, then you very likely that you start to condemn me with all the bad things that I have, that what the hell he thinks, who the hell he thinks he is, and all those things. Whereas they can do it. This is one reaction to that. The other reaction to that is, it said, reaction of Hasan, good. Hasan means good, right? A good reaction. That is, oh, he must not have heard me. He would have been busy in his mind. He didn't hear me. So that's a good reaction. That's called, we say in Farsi, barkhord Hasan. Approach, Hasan, a good approach. But even it can be better than this. It can be like saying, oh, Amu Saeed was so much in his mind thinking about Abolem. He was focused on this God. He was talking to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in him. So he did not even hear me. So you can give it even approach is called Ahsan, best reaction. The best way of taking it is you give it not only trying to free me from that accusation by saying, oh, he didn't hear me. You can even think he was so busy in his mind, he was thinking about to do something for our class. So that's why he didn't even hear me. There are many examples of this. You can imagine. I come and bring I start to talk to you and say, I give an example of me and Ali because we are so close. I'm sure he never gets offended from any bad example I make. I see Ali and say, I started to talk to Ali and say, oh Ali, I think you should not be like that. You should not talk like that. It's not good for you. Then Ali can take it different ways. Ali can think, I've been trying to say that to make him embarrassed. That's one way. And then he takes offense and then he feels bad about me. Or he can take it slightly better than that. I mean, he can take it in a better way. That is, the first one is what? It's referred to su'ezan. Su'ezan means, I don't know what to say in English for it. When you think, always you give the worst scenario to something. Su'ezan, it means bad thinking about people. When you have bad thinking about people, that's called su'ezan.
Or pessimism.
Yeah, pessimism maybe. Robert, do you know how to say su'ezan?
No, pessimism.
Pessimistic.
No, pessimistic. Yeah, when you're pessimistic about some person. So, Or Ali can take it this way that that's fine. I listen to him. Amu Said is not a bad person. He doesn't want. He just says something. Okay, I listen to him. That's another way of approaching to this. And the other way is he can take it as that he becomes so thankful to me in his heart, even whether he says this to me or not, thankful that how much Amu Said bothers about me and cares about me, that he goes that long way to, because talking to people and telling people's problems is not an easy thing. It's not easy when you go, I mean, who bothers? Why should I go and tell Ali, right? But he take it as, it really is, I tell you, it really is something not easy. And to go and tell people what the problems they have. But Ali takes it that way, that how much Amu Said cares about me, and he feels so thankful to me, and he takes it in the best way it can be. If you look at your life, is full of these examples, practical examples which is happening. You have to think good about people. Whatever bad you see from people, you have to give it the best chance and the best way that it could have happened. This is not only about that you gain a sawab, a reward. Definitely you do, and we do. But this is also about cleansing the khayal. Because then you start to create a positive environment about everyone that you know around you. Everyone you know that you think good of them. It doesn't matter how bad the person is. Because number one, we all have problems. So it's not that I start to look at other people's problems so that as such that I myself have no problem. If I can think good about other people, then I start to be focusing on my own self. The reason that I do not have, or I do not get, when I say a chance, I mean I do not get that habit of looking into my own bad traits to correct them, is I'm so busy to look at other people's traits, to look for their bad traits. That makes me busy. Sorry? Yeah, egg-jui. That's when you look at trying to find people's problems. So this has a lot you do not understand how much, I cannot emphasize how much this affects the khayal and imagination. And when it gets polluted, when you know that khayal is between our alam aql and alam matter. The problem is when qawwa khayal, potency of khayal, becomes polluted, immediately it cuts down between aql and matter. Because our presence is most in alam matter. Presence is most felt in matter, right? We do not have, as such, I mean, me at this status, I do not feel my presence in alam barzakh, nor I do feel my presence in alam aql. So if I want to connect to higher realms than my material presence, I need to pass through my imagination and my barzakh status. But if this barzakh status or khayal is two-sided, because it's in between, it has got two sides obviously. One side is looking down at material realm, the other side is looking up at intellectual realm. Okay? If for higher being, for intellectual side that it's looking at, it has contact with, it acts like a mirror. It's like a mirror. How if a mirror is not clean and is dirty and it becomes a layer of I don't know, dirty layer on it, it starts to not show the things very good. Even it shows, first, if it's not very dirty, it shows them blurry and not, you cannot even realize. The thicker it becomes, that dirt or uncleanliness of the mirror, the more it stops the images or the forms from other side, if it's a normal mirror. But when it's khayal, it does not let you connect at all with higher being of yourself. So it is very important. Potency of khayal is, I tell you, I don't mean to frighten you, it only shows you the importance of it, but also it shows you if you don't do it, without doing it, you're nowhere. We are going to be here for God knows how long. People, known people like Mullah Hussain Qoli Hamedani, took him 24 years to clean his khayal. For Allama Bahrul Ulum, you might have heard his name, right? Allama Bahrul Ulum is one of, yeah, Sayyid Mahdi Bahrul. He says from his own tongue, he says, it took me 34 years to cleanse my khayal. So I know all of you are immediately adding up your ages. You know, I'm 26 and 34. That means at the age of 60 I will be. No, it's not like that. I mean, though it's true, but what they have been talking is that means they have made their khayal absolutely clean and just like a glass. You know. What happens that the moment we start to take the first step, we go towards the cleaning of it, you start to see things coming from outside, from a higher side, from intellectual real. So it doesn't mean that you have to wait 30 years or 20 years so that you suddenly feel your khayal is clean. It's not like that. When you start, you gradually go forward, you start to get the benefit of it. You start to get to see that your khayal is becoming cleaner and more tahir. And this Taharat al Khayaal is amazing what it does, and it's amazing when it's polluted khayal what it does to us. Polluted khayal is even related to Qiyamat. All those things that we have heard, we have read in Ahadith or even maybe in Quran, that about a snake and scorpio and those things in Jahannam, how are they made? They are made in Alam Khayal. But not that they are, you all must have learned by now that this Alam Khayal we are talking is not the same Alam Khayal that we used to think that was an unreal thing. Whatever was unreal, we called it Khayal. Wasn't it? Whatever we wanted to say is unreal, we say, Baba Khayal mikoni, you think so, it's Khayal. No, this Alam Khayal, now that we are aware of, that we have learned, is a real thing. It's even more real than this material being, right? So, all those promises or creatures that we are told that they are going to torture us in Alam Qiyamat, in those animals, and like snakes and scorpions and things, they're all done in Alam Khayal. There are people, let's say, I tell you, you start, one of the things that we know, we say, bad people with bad tongue, sharp tongue, they bother other people with their tongue. Yeah. They create a scorpion in themselves, in Qiyamah. How? It's an issue that we have to study and learn. How would, with my tongue, I bother somebody, I say something to give him a hard time, that makes the Scorpio in Qiyamah for me. But it does. These are not usually done at the level of khayal. So khayal is amazing. I mean, it's just not possible. It's just not possible not having a cleansed khayal and seeing Jannat. So do not take this as a luxury that, okay, they're so good, I don't need to do this. Okay, I'm very good in other things, so why should I cleanse my khayal? Whereas, I mean, that being good, in fact, is when you're cleansing your khayal. And if you remember, I did not focus very much on this issue, but I remember I have said it in the issue of universes, that khayal or barzakh, the barzakh, not khayal, the barzakh is a level which we discussed is between alam akh and alam makr. We said Jannat of people who are only doing good things, but they do not learn any ma'arif. Yeah, Jannatul A'mal, Ahsan. Jannatul A'mal is Jannat at the level of Khayal. The level of Khayal, that's called Jannatul A'mal. That means you do not go higher to Alam Aq, which is, that is called Jannatul Liqa. Jannatul Liqa means what? Who knows what Jannatul Liqa means? Do you know? Do you know? Do you? No, you. I'm talking to you. What is Jannatul Liqa? Okay.
I know what Jannatul Liqa.
Okay. That little part, Liqa, who knows what does it mean in Arabic?
That meeting with Allah.
Ahsan, yeah. Jannatul Liqa means the Jannat which we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, but Liqa itself means meeting. In Arabic, Liqa means meeting. Right? Jannatul Liqa means Jannat of meeting. Meeting who? Allah. Can Allah be seen? You know that this is a very vast topic and controversial, and a lot of people have spoken about it. Whether Allah can be seen. Do you think Allah can be seen? No. So what are those things that about Allah that we see Allah? There are this about seeing Allah.
I touched the Musa and he asked Allah to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm not understood.
He says that verse of Quran which says Allah says Lan Tarani, and then he says look at this mountain if you can see. Okay. But still those are not saying they do not see, they do not mean Allah cannot be seen. But basically whenever we deny that Allah can be seen, we are denying that Allah can be seen by these eyes.
Is it someone can find Allah within yourself?
Yeah, but that has different levels. A level of it is meeting Allah. Right? We don't want to enter to this topic. I just wanted to say, yes, Allah is possible to be seen, but not by these eyes. Because eyes as one of the senses, and it's only about alam material level. Allah is not present in alam, this material level. If one wants to see Allah, of course, just even if you take it like physical realms, if you just take it like places, you have to go. Do you remember the Avalim? You have to go climb up, going to Alam Barzakh, climb up, going to Alam Aq, climb up, going to Alam Al-Asma, which I have not told you. I just called all of them Alam Ilah. If we are able to go to Alam Ilah, then we can see God. Why not? Okay. So there are hadiths, there are books about Liqa'ullah, and if you're interested, go and find those books.
What was the name of the Jannah linked to Quran?
Jannatul A'mal. That's that level, yeah. The other thing that one should cleanse himself from in level of khiyal is from long wishes. Who doesn't have long wishes? All of us have. All of us, when we think about, there's day and night, we are all thinking about the wishes that we have. Right? Okay, of course my wishes could be different from your wishes, and yours could be different from his, but we all have long wishes. And Prophet ﷺ has warned against long wishes. He has said, I'm afraid for my ummah from tulul amal, the lengthy, the wishes that they look, when you look at the future, you're all the time imagining your future, or this is going to happen, that is going to happen. And you probably have heard that the story of the person who had a tongue, you know tongue? Jar of duq, you know duq? You don't know?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, you know, let's see. You have heard that story, right?
No.
He had the jar full of lassi. Lassi is a drink. They make it with, you all know that? Okay. So, and then he says he's thinking, if I make with this yogurt, if I make I don't know so much yogurt and this, and then if I can take some more of this water. He was sitting by the ocean, by the sea, and take some more and put this, and into this I can make then such a big bunch of what do you call it? Yogurt. And then with that much yogurt I can make add some of this water into it and make such a huge lassi, and then so he continues and continues and continues, and he suddenly, by one of these emotional things he was doing, he put the jars and broke the jars away. So all the lassi goes away. So this is a story of our life. We are all the time making lassi for ourselves and more. Sorry? No, that's definitely nothing. No, I'm not talking about that. Amal alef mim lam, not with ain. With alef means arezu, wish, which is worldly. Right? That refers to worldly wishes. So we have to clean our khayal from that. At the end, remind me. I may forget. I tell you what is the best way for getting a cleanliness or cleansing the khayal. I don't want to say it now. Okay. Continuing with the imagination and aql. We all know that aql is inclined towards unity. Okay. Aql as a whole has inclination. If we have aql, it takes us towards unity. But the moment it comes down, brings us to diversity, is no more aql. Aql of the most of the people is at potentiality stage. There is a great philosopher and Arif called Mullah Sadra, you might have heard his name. He says, أَكْثَرُ النَّاسِ سِبْيَانُ الْأُغُولِ, which is very correct. Because we have learned that aql is a potentiality that we have to actualize it, isn't it? When a baby is born, it doesn't have any aql. It has only the potentiality. He believes that I've come to agree with what I've learned. I've come to agree with it that say most of the people, grown-ups, they are Sebyan al-Ughul. They have the child's aql in them. They do not grow. The aql does not grow. Doesn't matter who it is. I've explained to you, even if it's what is that guy who has got Microsoft? Bill Gates. Even if it's Bill Gates, it still doesn't mean he has a good aql. Or it's George Bush that he runs the whole world, basically. It doesn't mean he's got the aql. He's doing all of those things with wahm and khayal. So most of the people are not able, are able if they want, but in practice they do not actualize their aql and their intellect. So their intellect remains at the same as almost what they were born with. Very little. So those people, if they are even the best type of people, their jannat, which is jannatul amal, is limited, as we discussed. The other thing is mostly intellectual issues for us, because we have not used our intellect very much. Mostly the intellectual issues for us is difficult. It makes us tired, right? Doesn't it? It does to me, definitely. If I study too much of intellectual things, it makes me feel tired. Or when intellectual issues are explained, it's difficult to understand. But the moment an example is given, right? This is very common and normal. Do not take it that I'm saying this is anything wrong with it. But I'm just trying to show you the relationship of aql and khayal. The moment, if I say something intellectual, then you look at yourself, and then after I repeat it 2-3 times, then you say, I'm going to say, can you give us an example? Or I may bring some pictures with it myself. Right? Why? Because things at the level of imagination are more understandable. The moment it goes to the level of intellectual level, it's difficult for us. We are not used to it. You cannot understand. So we have to learn. This is a gradual practice and exercise that we gradually start to be able to learn things when are told us in form of intellectual form. But when we learn that, then we develop that trait in us, then you become much more faster, because in this level, for every intellectual reality, you need a lot of examples and further studies and probably pictures, films. Even I have brought some films today. I don't know if you get the time to watch it or not. That is only to make it easier to understand things. But when it comes to alam what do we do when we give example? We say misal in Farsi and Arabic. We say give misal. What does misal mean? Means say le. Misal means image. That means give an image to it. Misal means make it a story type. Make it look like people. Okay, for that, yes, when you see Amu Said, you say this. So all I'm doing with this, I'm giving image and example to it. So things at the level of khayal are easier to understand. But khayal also is called, remember, khayal is most of the people, people of knowledge, they refer to it as thief. Khayal is thief. Thief. Those, yes. How? How is those? Why is it referred to as thief? Would anyone make a guess? Baba? Of course, I've seen thief in English, but I've read it, they say rahzan. Rahzan is the same thing. Rahzan is a different thief. Rahzan is when on the roads they used to cut the road and steal people's things from them. That they are called rahzan. I translated that into thief. No, you're talking about khayal, right? Yeah. No, that's not what it's called.
Take it from you and give you something else.
No, I tell you, I'm sure you're all experiencing this every day, at least in your salat. But apart from salat, there are things that you want to focus on something, but you also see that. And those who have told me that they get up early morning in Sahar and they want to concentrate on something. That is where khayal comes in. Let's say you decide, I want to focus and concentrate on Imam Zaman alayhi salam. How many times you find yourself, you're thinking of, I don't know, a battle in Iraq, for instance. Again, you bring yourself back to now I wanted to focus on Imam Zaman. And in no time you find yourself, you are fighting with your brother, you're fighting with your sisters. So, however much you try, you keep your concentration on that specific issue, but very soon in the matter of seconds, and if it's very long, matter of minutes, you find yourself that you're thinking about something else. This is why who is doing this? This is Ghubay Khiyal. That's why it's called thief. It steals from you that subject and give you another subject. You cannot concentrate anymore. Do you agree? Have you not noticed that? Yeah, while you are studying. Exactly. That is when Ghubay Khiyal comes and it's still your subject, the topic. It does not let you focus. So Ghubay Khiyal is the most difficult thing to bring to control. Bringing to control is when I say Allah Akbar and I want to say my salat, at least I can concentrate on the words that I say and the meaning of those words. I cannot. Why I cannot? Because my khayal, my imagination is so polluted. It can be said from shaitan too, but as a whole, it has to do with the cleanliness of the khayal. So if you are able to clean your khayal, then all those things become at control. Whenever you want to think about anything, you can focus and concentrate on it.
If one decides to live a good deed or evil, one decides if you want to do something, you first imagine about doing it, whether it's good or bad. And sometimes, what if someone does like say, I want to do this if it's a good thing? Like they have the need to do it, but they're not good to do it. That's good to get the reward. And if someone else is deciding to do a bad action, that does not give the chance, because something is not right, so otherwise he could have done it.
No. It is said that if you think bad about something, you do not get the punishment of it, if you don't do it. But if you do intend something good, but you cannot do it, you get the intention That is what in hadith is there. Okay, khiyal is inclined towards diversity, right? Khiyal takes us to diversity. As I was just giving that example, you start to think about something, it takes you to so many things. You just forget where you were and what you wanted to do. And the other thing is khiyal of everyone is actualized. You understand? Now remember, you understand the difference of potential and actuality. Potentiality and actuality. Yeah? What is potentiality versus actuality?
Potentiality is like having the container, like a container. The actuality is when it becomes finished.
Very good. Very good example. So potentiality is when you put a seed under the earth, its potentiality is there. But when that seed grows into a tree and gives fruits and it actualizes. Khiyal of all of us is actualized. We don't have to worry about actualizing khiyal. What we have to worry about is actualizing the aql. Okay? I told you about this. The other thing about khiyal, which is a very interesting topic as a whole itself, and has a lot of bearing and relation with Qiyamat, is khiyal acts like a camera. Obey khiyal is just like a camera. Have I said this? Have I talked about this before? This is one of the important parts of Ma'rifat Nafs. Not that I'm going through it now, because that's an independent topic by itself. But obey khiyal, potency of khiyal is like a camera. Whether you want it, whether it's not that something you decide about it. You do not even need any decision, any will. That wherever you are, it just at the rate of this rate is from me. At the rate of 1,000 pictures a second is taking and sending into your soul.
Like it's in control too.
You don't have any control. You cannot stop doing it. Sorry?
It is in control of you.
No, it's in control of surrounding. Obey khiyal is in control of surrounding of us. Okay?
Yeah.
When we go anywhere we are. Now you are here, you cannot stop your obey khiyal from taking pictures from all the things that is in front of you, from me, computer, whiteboard, everything. It keeps sending those images to nafs. And all those images which goes into nafs, they are stored somewhere. I get up. That's a bit of. All these images which are sent by the khiyal to the soul, it gets stored. There is, if you like, there's a tank in soul. I call it tank. It's where it stores all the images which is related to soul. Okay? Every second, this obey khiyal. Do not think about eyes. I'm talking about obey khiyal. Okay? What obey khiyal has got, it's like when you have a camera, it has got only one lens. But imagine obey khiyal has got 5 lenses. It doesn't have only one lens. One lens of the obey khiyal is your eyes. The other lens of obey khiyal is your ears. The other lens of obey khiyal is your touch. And all the 5 senses. Every sense is one lens for this camera. And doesn't matter, as I said, doesn't matter whether you intentionally do it. You cannot intend not to do it. If I put my hand here, it's taking a picture of the smoothness or whatever quality this has, and it sends to my soul. This is the work of my obey. Okay? So, for instance, that's why, for instance, if I feel this, the smoothness of this, or let's make a different example. Let's say I put on this, it gets stored. Take image of image, not image of picture. Do not take image as picture here. There is a difference between the image I'm talking about and the image that we know of, which relates only to picture. Image of form. Remember, all the 5 senses collect forms. forms in hearing. The music you hear, that's a form. Right? Everything in the world has form. Some of them have form that you can see it. Some of them that have form that you can hear that form. Some of the forms you can touch. This is called in. You then have pen. You have the pen. In Arabic, on a Farsi, we call it surah. But this surah is not face, okay? This surah is, when we say, for instance, when we say 5 by 3 for 15, that's an intellectual form. That's intellectual surah. Surah al-Aqli. Okay, Ubaykhiyar, it starts all the time, it's taking with 5 senses, lenses it has, takes pictures from the forms, right? Picture, image, this is not about what you can see, it's about what you can hear, what you can taste. If you give me something that I've never eaten before, like a type of drink, I drink it, there will be a picture taken from that taste, put into my soul. If next time again, even without I see it, I close my eyes, I'm giving something, immediately my Ubaykhiyar takes that form that had taken before. Let's say 10 days ago had taken a form of that taste, put into my soul somewhere. Takes it out and tells, oh yes, this is orange juice. Because that time, that form was stored and remembers it like that, so it says, yes, this is orange juice. Or if I touch this, similarly, if I close my eyes and bring the same thing under my hand, the moment I touch it, I say, oh yes, that's the book. Okay. Well, how can I say that is the book? Because previously, my Ubaykhiyar had taken an image of this touch, image of the touch. I repeat this so that you are aware, you practice in your mind that image is not only about this image. That Surat al-Hissi. This Surat al-Hissi is taken and in my nafs is referred to, oh yes, this is book. Then I bring it out and say it's book. So you can imagine, the whole life you're doing this. Right? The moment I see this, I say this is camera. Because I have seen it before and my Ubaykhiyar has stored it as a camera. Okay? Inshallah, if I remember another time, I bring you a movie for 5 minutes of it. I show you that this is scientific movie that in quantum mechanics they have proved what I'm talking about to you. It's very, very relevant. I wish I had remembered and I've done it. So all these forms go to stored in the nafs, in the soul, and Ubaykhiyar it's not only a camera to take all these forms. Ubaykhiyar is also called Bazigan. You know Bazigan? Who knows what is Bazigan? Yeah. Ubaykhiyar plays with this form. If Ubaykhiyar is not clean, is not purified, it does back play with the forms that it takes. If Ubaykhiyar is under the control and is purified and is tahir, it does good things with those forms. Because all those forms, billions of forms, you can imagine each of us have billions of those forms in us. And those forms are what which create our qiyamah in us later on. Okay? So just give you a hint, why without hijab? The ladies should not be without hijab. Because men's eyes are taking pictures, sending to them. Ubaykhiyar, if it's not in their control, plays with those pictures. Understand? So it's very important. So all of what I wanted to refer to, all of these ahkam which comes from fiqh has a lot to do with the reality of the nafs. How nafs function, ahkam are based on those functions of the nafs. So Ubaykhiyar is like a camera and plays up. And if we are purify it and make it clean, when we sleep, good dreams come because it becomes like a clean mirror. It reflects top to bottom. So we can see good dreams and meaningful dreams. When I say good dreams, necessarily that doesn't mean that we're happy and we're dancing and singing. It means that dreams that it gives you good news, it shows you, it even, there are people when they reach, there are people who reach to a level that they do not even need dream. But while they're sleeping, they meet what is referred to as Zawat Nuri, luminous Zat. Luminous Zat, who knows what is a luminous Zat? Zat Nuri? Ahsan, good. Luminous Zat means angel. Angel is a creature of Alam Aq. Angel is a creature of Alam Aq, and because they are ilm, they are all with ilm, come with ilm, they are ilm themselves, they are called luminous Zat. They are Nurani. And people reach to a status that you do not even need to dream and see something in dream. You just, in your sleep, your act meet with those angels. But again, when I say meet, do not turn it into you see something. No. That in the morning you wake up, you feel you know something. You have learned something which you did not know last night. That is how angel is meeting our intellect. That is called tamassulati bi-misal. Let me write it. I don't know in I write it in Persian Arabic. Tamassul means giving picture, yeah? Tamassul. Everyone. No, tamassul. This is tamassul means having an example or having image. Okay? Tamassul. Vomisal is dream. Okay? Vomisal or in Arabic you say ma'al misal. But there is no Arabic. So, tamassul. Tamassul. Bimisal means law misal. Or Arabic they call it tamassul law misal. Is meeting angels. So, angels are intellectual beings. So people will reach to a status that they do not even dream, but they sleep and they wake up in the morning, they know something. They have learned something that which they didn't know. Yeah, of course they can get the knowledge of future, if that's what you mean. If people can get, and we know that a lot of people do get the knowledge of future with tamassul ba misal, with no more dream. Okay, so it is very important. I close up this session. It's very important that we purify our khayal. We purify our khayal, and we make it clean. We cleanse it so that, see, as I said, it's not a luxury. If we want to get and we want to tap the realities outside us, we have to purify khayal so that this mirror can reflect from top to bottom. And we get to learn a lot of things. One of the ways, I quickly say, one of the ways, that's what I asked you to remind me, I remember not stating. One of the best ways to get cleanliness of khayal is the study of awalim. They have said a study of awalim, because remember, imagine if all the time your mind, all the time one's mind is engaged with this awalim. When I say awalim, does not necessarily it's not only confined to those three universes. All of the things that we are discussing is discussion of awalim and universes. When one's mind is truly engaged, it leaves no space for your mind to do backbiting, to have su'azan, bad feeling, bad thinking about other people and this and that, and gradually you grow into a situation that almost every night you get some reality of the world. You get good dream and you learn things about whatever way. Allah wants to show you. It happens to us. So we have to purify our khayal. One of the other thing is dream, sleeping and dreaming in our sleep is one of things that's called Tur Shakar. Farsi. You know Tur Shakar? Tur, you know what is Tur? Net? Yeah? Do you know what is Shakar?
Yeah.
Shakar is what? Hunting. Tur Shakar means net for hunting. So dream is a net for hunting. People can hunt realities of the world if we can have purified khayal. And you go to books, they are, especially for sleeping, it's recommended that there are certain amal which takes about 5 minutes. Having wudu and reading those things, which starts from those last verses of Surah Al Imran. How do you start? قل إنما أنا بشر مثلكم يوحى إلي إنما إلهكم إله واحد فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه all the way until the end of it. Then after that you recite tasbih Hazrat Zahra Salamu Alayha, then Ayatul Kursi, then 3 times Qul Huwallahu Ahad, and there is a little dua which I never remember that, but it says Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. What I promised you to do, I scanned this from the book of, this is in the book of Liqa'ullah. I scanned that, it's only 1 page. I email it to you so that we can see if you are interested. So, once you do that, and also you slip towards Qibla on your right shoulder, and and do this dua, and after you finish this dua with zikr. So, they have promised to show us some realities from the other side. بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد.